Okay, today we're talking with some young Black leaders of Duluth and talking about the BIPOC youth in Duluth and the barriers that they have to overcome. Um, yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Welcome to Divine Conversations Podcast, a space where faith meets real life and community stories lead the way. We're here to lift up the voices of BIPOC families navigating housing, healing, mental health, and so much more. Whether you're a parent, a provider, or someone walking alongside our communities, you belong here. Each episode, we share honest conversations, resources, and real stories of resilience. Together, we're creating a space for healing, hope, and divine conversations, where healing begins and stories rise.
So can you all introduce yourselves and then tell us a little bit about your backstory, about yourselves, how you came to Duluth?
You want to say our names first, and then we'll just go right into it.
Yeah.
Pez Davila. I'm the executive director over at Neighborhood Youth Services.
Kantrelle Kirk. I am a senior youth specialist at NYS.
I'm AC Kirk, carpenter in training, maintenance man, gardener, property investor.
A man of many trades.
All of them.
Mm-hmm.
Pez, can you tell us how you came to be in Duluth?
Yeah. I'm from New Jersey, born and raised. Up until I was around like 15 and a half, got adopted by a family in Pennsylvania because I was acting a fool. My mom knew it was probably the best thing for me.
At 15 is crazy.
Bro, well, before 15. She stopped me at 15.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was wilding years, but yours. Played football at college, a little bit in the pros, and then two of my cousins actually got drafted to play in for the Vikings. So I came up to visit them and loved the area. They wanted me to move to the cities, but I hated the cities. I just came from a big city area. So loved Duluth and ended up, I didn't know nobody here. I just said, well, I might as well do a fresh start, and now I'm here. So 10 years later, locked in.
That's what's up. That's bold.
That is very bold.
Yeah.
I am from the Duluth area, born and raised. My dad had me here at a very young age. I can't even remember when. That's how far back it goes. I visited him here for summers, and I went to NYS where I currently work as a youth, and I've currently watched it just go through a bunch of different iterations and generations. And yeah, I guess that's my story. I've only went to school here once though, in middle school I think it was the 6th grade. And it was a very eye-opening experience for me. I'm glad that I had it. Kind of awkward a little bit, but we can get into that later.
Yeah, because you mostly went to school in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, and it was mad diverse. It was a lot of different. It's just a melting pot down there as far as and around the time I guess it was like late 2000s, mid 2000s. We had the highest population for Muslims and Asians at the time. So as far as seeing different cultures, I was mad used to that. But when I came up here, it was real culture shock. So
It's probably not much different now.
yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, like you go down there. Yeah, you go down there, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of just different people you'll see.
I was born here. I stayed here till I was around like 10 years old. And then I went to North Carolina, went to Texas after that, came back around like 15. And I've been here more or less, basically ever since.
And can you tell us about, what you remember about like growing up and going to school here before you moved to Texas, and then how it was different from going to school here in Texas?
Well, it was like different age ranges, so it's kind of hard to compare. Like I went to high school a little bit down in Texas, and then I went to high school up here, so that would be easier to compare.
Yeah.
But I spent like a lot of elementary school years here. It was cool. I guess if I was to think of a difference, that like things that seem to be different between then and now, I guess people seemed more invested. Teachers seemed more invested. I remember like just different stuff happening in the school. Like we had some sort of like fitness program that our class got some sort of grant for or something like that. So they replaced all the chairs with like bouncy balls so people would sit straight up. It was like I don't know, but I remember when the smart boards came through, that was a big thing. That's kind of off topic, but they did like we had like a writing competition, so like kids would write stories, and then the top couple of like the stories get graded. The teachers choose a couple of kids to go, and those kids would go to St. Scholastica to see like a writing program or see like how they do writing and stuff like that up there. I don't know what they got going on now. I know with the kids that I've interacted with, I used to work with the neighborhood youth services. The kids I interacted with, it didn't seem like there was a lot of that kind of stuff going on. From the stories that I heard, I didn't spend a lot of time in the schools, but the stories that I heard from the kids and just from people that do work in the schools, it seems like it's a lot more hands off, a lot less like, I don't know, like a lot less exploration
An expectation.
and expectation.
Yeah, expectation is low, way low
Yeah.
than what it used to be. I mean, even growing up in Jersey, like you said, I think teachers cared if like the students felt like they couldn't learn. Like they would find alternative ways for them to learn rather than just say, "Oh, they can't do it. Let's put them on the IEP."
Yeah.
You know, like we serve 60 plus kids a day. 50 of them are on IEPs, which is insane, and they don't need to be. Like we got some smart kids, and not just saying it to being biased. We'd tell you if they were slow. Like we got some smart kids.
Yeah.
We really do. Like that are more than capable of doing the work, understanding the work. They may just need a one more session to pick it up, than kids that don't grow up with some of these generational things that the parents, bring to their kids. So it's
Yeah, no, in high school, it seemed like I could have just got an IEP if I decided to.
Yeah.
I almost wanted to just because I didn't want to do the work.
do the work. Yeah.
So
Yep.
it was really like,
Yeah, and in my opinion, like what AC said, it's a lack of just exploration in general. So there was a lot more, what I remember coming up. Like I said, I didn't go to school here, but in elementary. But when I did go to school in elementary down in the cities, we had this camp, this space camp that I was allowed to go to, and it was in Oshkosh. So
that's
like,
where you did the flight simulator?
yeah, that I just brag about every day. If a apocalypse happened right now,
We in that thing.
yeah,
You
I
can
mean,
fly out of here.
we're going.
Amen.
Terrified of heights, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But that experience was like, I feel like for me, and like huge at the time. I was probably in like 3rd or 4th grade, and it just really, I feel like it added to who I am as an individual as far as seeking different knowledge on things and just wanting to learn more stuff. So it's like, I think we need to add more of that nuance to how we teach the youth now, and kind of veer away from more of the traditional means, like just classroom etiquette and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that we got to muck the whole system up or that I have the solution, but something definitely needs to change.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like a mixed bag because the tradition, I mean, like, I guess the traditional way to teach people, there's like the whole, what does they call it? Like pipeline thing, school to work or school to prison. Like, I don't know, like it kind of makes you think a certain way, but then in a lot of ways, we've lost tradition that did help us at the same time. So it's like holding on to things that aren't beneficial, but then letting go of the things that were beneficial, whether it be like certain books, just like, I don't know. I don't want to call it ideologies. It's more like,
I think technology has changed a lot of career exploration
Mhm.
for sure. Because growing up, the amount of jobs we knew we could get made kids want to go to college, in some way, shape, or form. And for kids in the hood like us, at some point we thought the only way to college was through sports. But once we got there, we was good. But now kids could care less about graduating high school because a lot of the careers are being just ran straight up by technology. So I think and in the hood that's tough too because when you get a lot of BIPOC kids that get on IEPs, whether they graduate or not, a lot of them are graduating on goals rather than the educational, the learning part.
Yeah.
So now they already starting with a leg down, and don't even understand what this technology is, how to use it,
and the goal set a standard like down here.
Yeah.
It's not even. It's not really close to.
No,
like,
it
typical
ain't close at
expectation.
all.
But I think it's career exploration with the tech and all that stuff. But it's also like self exploration.
For sure.
Yeah,
Like,
most definitely.
The stories that we tell ourselves. The stories we tell ourselves are like something about the way that we're wired. That's integral in the way that you develop, just as a kid and as a human being. But like, there's not really a lot of exploration of that anymore.
No.
It's just like you see what's going on outside, and then you like attach yourself to that. Whether that be like, just think of it like whether it be like hip hop music is a big one that comes to mind, or like hip hop culture. I see a lot of people attach themselves to that. Punk rock culture, but like that's even kind of lost like the oomph that it had. Like there was kind of like some meaning in it before, but now it's just like dressing a certain way.
For sure.
And then it's like the exterior looks a certain way, but the interior is still hollow because it's not backed up by, I guess, the story that came along with that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get you.
I have a question. Lavelle, so you grew up here and you went to Nettleton, I believe, and then you were at East.
Yeah.
And so for most of the time, I'm assuming there were only like one or two black children in your class.
In Nettleton, it was a lot of black kids in Nettleton. I mostly hung out with black kids, Mexican
We
kids.
did buy a
stuff
house in
like that.
Central Hillside to get a little bit more diverse because
Yeah.
it wasn't going to work for you in Superior.
Yeah.
That was my
But so your
experience.
classroom was diverse
Yeah.
in elementary? Okay. And then what about at East when you came back?
At East, there was like I guess lunchtime, for example, is a good way for me to like put a label on it. At lunchtime, there was like a table full of black kids, like 1, 2, maybe 3 tables, and we all just sat right there for the most part. And then everybody else was mostly white. But yeah.
For the community.
Yeah.
And because my question is that just being in Duluth, there's not a huge black population here. And so did you just being in school, especially because I know a lot of people probably that I work with are coming from other places, and then kind of being in Texas where it's more diverse, not necessarily having even black teachers, BIPOC teachers. How was that? Did you realize that? Did that impact you at all? Did you notice? Or just because you were raised here is just what it was? But did you notice that, you were the minority? Did you notice that there was not teachers that looked like you? Do you feel like that had an impact?
The teacher thing, not really, because that was my only experience, really. It's kind of it was hard to imagine having a black teacher. I didn't really think about it, but I remember going to school, elementary school down in Nettleton. And it was like in the area that we lived in, it was not elementary school down in Nettleton, elementary school down in Texas. And in the area that we lived in, it was a lot less diverse. So I kind of felt like a fish out of water when I was down there. But then I came up here and I guess, like I started eating lunch in the library because I came like in the middle of the school year, after the school year had started already, so I didn't really have friends. But then I started to integrate more, I guess, with people. I guess they just happened to be mostly black. But then there was even like a point in time where I felt like I didn't really fit in with them. So then like I found myself like eating other places, like not even eating lunch, but then like you'd find other friends or whatever the case was. But it does seem like there's something there too, because I guess we're talking about black people, the black experience that I was experiencing was like a lot of kids from Chicago or a lot of kids from St. Paul or something like that. Like inner city type of kids in particular. So like I've had like more experiences than that, like going to North Carolina, going to Texas, et cetera, et cetera. So like once I removed myself from that, it felt like there wasn't a lot of other places to go where I would feel like, not that I was isolated because I made other friends, but it didn't feel like there was no like second option. It's either like the hood or no, or you just like doing, I don't know, white people stuff, I guess is what
Oh, that's interesting because that was kind of my experience as far as when I came up here to Ordean in middle school. Mad fish out of water. My cousin Ja went there with me, so it was me, but it was me, Ja, one other black kid. I mean, there was another black girl, but like she was more. She just didn't have the sauce, with all due respect. But like as far as so that was just like a fish out of water type experience that you were speaking towards.
But not to cut you off, like hold that thought, but even like her experience, like she didn't have the sauce, she didn't fit in with you and the other two. Like where was she supposed to? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but continue.
And in all honesty, though, like I didn't really experience no racial bullying. Maybe they was doing it behind my back. Maybe they was doing it when I left. But in all honesty, like the people I had around me was mad welcoming. In our neighborhood, they were mad welcoming. So I thank God that I had the experience that I had and didn't really experience no bullying like that. But again, I was only there for a year, and you know, probably if I stayed long enough, I was bound to run into somebody. But when I went back to the cities, it was completely different. Like I went to the city school called Ramsey Middle School, and it was completely different experience. Like I said, it was a lot of Asian kids, a lot of Somalian kids, and this is some of my first time like kind of realizing like, oh shit, like I'm not the only black kid. Oh shit, like it's other like. And like it's not even a majority black school. Like it's a lot of people in here. Like one of my homeboys, or two of my homeboys, was Puerto Rican. So it's like, I don't know, that experience, and I used to like it more down there as a kid. But the more I get into my latter age, as far as like just comfort and like just. Yeah, really comfort. Like Duluth is just, I don't know. It feels home. Yeah, it feels peaceful. It feels like not as much rustle and hustle as far as
I remember
when
I moved to my school. I graduated with like over 1,000 people, and in my entire high school we had 4 white kids. That's it, 4. Bro, hell, you know what I mean? So, but when I got adopted, I'll start going to this school called Malvern Prep.
This is in New Jersey, right?
No, this is in PA. Now when I got adopted, yeah. And Malvern Prep was at the time it was like $37,000 a year, high school. But it was other black people there, but they already had grew up in a rich life. And it was an all boys school, and all people wanted to talk about was, like, what is your mom, what did your parents do? Like, I don't know how to answer that. My dad sold drugs. My mom, we don't know. She do something. She worked, but I got sick of answering those questions that I had told my pop. I was like, I'm trying to go back to school in Jersey. So that's what I did. And more because I was more comfortable, back with my homies in Jersey. And I was already in high school. I wanted to keep playing football with them and everything. And it ain't like these guys weren't welcoming, because to a lot of like white people, hood people cool. So I was the man when I walked into school, but I still ain't feel like I was part of that, And sometimes I wish like I stayed just for the educational piece maybe, or to even learn more about them at that age.
Were you taking advantage of that at the time? Like, did you have the presence of mind?
No, I was still fresh out the hood. So all I wanted to do was go back to hood stuff. You know what I mean? So
I heard somebody say recently, youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah.
I had a lot of opportunities like that.
And the other thing I wish too is like we didn't always connect like inner city or poverty to black, you know. So we talk about the black experience is like, well, we can experience life in so many different ways, but my experience was the hood. So that's what I wanted. I'm comfortable in chaos. Even today, I'm very comfortable in chaos. But I hate that when even sometimes I'm guilty of it, I think about what my definition of chaos is black chaos. And it shouldn't be, you know, like, and I want our kids to know that too as they grow up of like, yo, you're allowed to have other experiences that isn't the hood, or you don't have to grow up in poverty to be black, or you don't have to, you know, be an inner city kid to be black or whatever. Come from Chicago, come from, you know, Northeast Minneapolis or wherever that may be. We black because of who we are, not because like we broke. You know what I mean? Like we ain't got much. So yeah. But that's maturity when we're young, like you were saying. You know, we young, we ain't really understand it. So
now that you guys kind of understand it more, and when you do have those feelings of like displacement or fish out of water type of feelings, how do you deal with that? How do you navigate those feelings, and what are you thinking in those moments?
For me, all right, I'm gonna answer quick because I know me. I'm never uncomfortable, like ever. Probably because of how I grew up. Like I grew up fast. Me and my brothers, like we grew up fast. I brought my grandma's house at 13. Like we had to grow up, and I always felt like I can fit in any room. Even now, like some of my best friends in this area are the guys who pretty much run Duluth. They own everything. You know, great guys. They've never made me feel like I'm any less than them or in any way. But it can be intimidating going into some rooms. Like you may not have what they have or understand a lot of the business talk that they talking right away. But I tell even the kids like, yo, when you walk in a room, act like you belong there. Because if you act like you belong there, they're going to treat you like you belong there. You come in there nervous and stumbling over words, not confident in yourself, you know, and that's up to us, especially black men, to teach our, you know, kids like, this is what confident means. It doesn't mean cocky or walk in a room and try to take over. It just means, hey, let them know, like, I'm allowed to sit in this same room that y'all sitting in.
I belong here,
you know what I mean? Period. You know, so I approach every situation like that. So
I think kind of similarly, but now that I hear you talk about it, I do it in sort of a smug asshole way, because I do get uncomfortable. I'll be mad uncomfortable when I'm not gonna stunt. I'll be mad uncomfortable as far as like like we're chilling. Like if me and AC were to just go to a coffee shop and we're chilling and like we like the ambiance and we're there for the ambiance and the way things are set up and the creativity it sparks, and we talking deep in a like dope conversation, and I just glance to see a nigga mugging. Like my initial thing isn't to like say something to this person. My initial thing is to like stand strong in where we at. Like we here. We not about to just get up and leave because you giving me a funny look.
Or that you feel uncomfortable because you got.
It is what it is. But that's how I that's how I internalize it, I guess. And unconsciously, I kind of think of all of the dope black quotes and all of the dope things, what it means to be black, and like it helps me stand firm in that. But that's like years of like training myself to do that, because I'll be lying if I said that I didn't do that back in the day or when I was a teenager or when I was young and like immediately leave, because it's like, oh yeah, I don't, like you just said, I don't belong here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's.
And I think the world teaches before you go. The world like subconsciously teaches us, especially like being from the hood, of like, y'all not gonna fit in here, or white people can't take the way you talk, or our confidence is aggression. No, it's not. Like we just smart for real. You know what I mean? And there's so many preconceived notions of what we supposed to be, especially we dreadheads. You know what I mean? People look at us already like, and I'm a big dude. Oh yeah, no, they probably tough, they mean. No, we not. We really not. We just confident as hell. You know what I mean? And we stand on what we believe in because we know it's right. Whether or not how it come across, you can understand right away, but that don't mean that what we're saying is wrong either. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
No, and I definitely feel that, like, the things that people tell you, like, the world, but, like, even your own community will tell you, like, or they'll just paint a picture as if you're supposed to feel a way, or, like, you should already be offended about some stuff that happened or about the way that you think that people think. But I really try not to think about it. I really try my hardest to push all of that stuff out of my mind. And it comes with pros and cons because a part of that is real. But I think it's been more beneficial not to think about it just because, I don't know. Like, back to the thing where you said, like, whenever you do feel like a fish out of water. I guess I'll partially use the exterior that you just talked about to my advantage in the sense that, like, it just depends on what I feel like doing. Like, if I feel like keeping to myself, then I'll keep to myself. If I feel like interacting with people, then it becomes really easy because it's like, I don't know, it's like you just have a conversation. A lot of times when I will reach out and have that conversation, it seems like other people are more uncomfortable with having a conversation than I actually am. But I heard a dude recently say he was listening to a public speaker, something on car sales or something like that. The public speaker comes off stage. He goes up and he asks him a question. He's like, yo, are you nervous when you do this kind of stuff? And the dude just looks at him and he's like, should I be? And that really stuck with me because it was like, even before we did this, like, sitting on camera, I don't spend time on camera. It's like, I got issues, whatever the case is. But it's like, you can think about all that stuff, or you can just think about the fact that you're just having a conversation. It's like, should I be nervous? In reality, no. But, so I guess I just try to, like, hold on to that. But there's definitely moments where I do get uncomfortable, and I'll probably take, like, it might seem smug exteriorly, but it's just like, I guess that's just the armor to contain the inner anxiety. But it's like, it's not like it's not pigeonholing me anyway. Yeah.
Going back to the youth of Duluth, what is it like to work with today's BIPOC youth?
To be honest, it's not even the youth, and we'll go back to the youth, but it's more of the parents. It is, and
well, I would broaden that and say more so the obstacles in place for us to really affect, like, how they think. So not just the parents, but the school
and the system and everything.
The system, but also like how we only get so much time with them too, and how, like, the second we try to instill something and they learn the lesson, they go right back to something that just
reteach.
tells them that was wrong. Like what you just learned just now was completely wrong.
Of having impact.
Unlearn that,
A lot of, and it's just like, there's been so much generational trauma within the Black community, and even going back from when Black people became free, having to learn to read and write on your own, and then trying to teach your kids how to read and write, and then you still got that barrier of we can only go to certain schools and, this and that. And we still see a lot of it play out today. So whatever that trauma that's being passed down to these parents that's having kids, and now our kids having kids, breaking that cycle is hard. And I mean, I think the hood, the hood always gonna be the hood. It will. But I think every time we think we come up with a solution, we hit with another barrier of some, whether that's social media now, or that's a new style of rap, or clothes, or their peers. You know what I mean? Like what's cool now? Like, I remember growing up, we gangbang growing up, like from an early age, 10 years old. But we always went to school. Being a crackhead and getting F's was corny to us. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, but it was crazy because we never tied that to being in the streets. Like, because we felt like that's what we had to do. And getting good grades was something you had to do. We needed to do.
No, same. Like we made fun of the people who didn't have. good
Yeah,
grades.
exactly.
Whether you was a hood dude or not.
Or
like
not.
A lot of the hood dudes in my school that didn't play sport, didn't do anything, they got good grades.
Yeah.
Like they made sure they got good grades.
And it was rare to see somebody not graduate now. I mean, and we can say from
Very
working with
different
kids.
now.
What? I'm talking about the graduation rate in Duluth last year was 56%.
That's ridiculous.
56% at Denfeld High School. Huh?
That's overall.
That's the Denfeld High School. And I only know that because we got a report on it for grants. But think about that, dude. That number is, out of 100 kids, 56, I'm just thought it was 100. 44 of them, we have no idea what they're doing. You know, and that's why you got the schools like ALC, Adult Learning Center, which is the alternative school. It's packed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so packed that they can't even seat kids anymore. They just sending them online and saying, hey, you got X amount of credits to make up.
And they have to do it on their own.
Do it on their own. You know what I mean? So we get so overwhelmed. I mean, we ain't got kids of our own. I got custody of 22 right now. I got custody of 22 kids. Legally. In front of courts, judge signature. Because, you know, we have parents that in their minds, they just don't think they're equipped to do it. You know, and it's like, okay, how do we help these parents become equipped? But then we got to go back and say, man, y'all didn't even graduate from high school.
Right.
You know, so we got to start. Where do we start? You know, do you start with getting a GED, or do we got to figure out this trauma piece of it that a lot of us black people deny? Like, we don't think we got no problems. You know what I mean? Like, we over that. We can do this and this and this now. We held back for some reason. You know what I mean? Even without putting anybody else in the mix. You know, there's a lot that we haven't
Healed from.
yeah, you know what I mean? Or even taking our own accountability on. Exactly, you know,
Yeah,
so
and even though we do help who we can as far as parents go, and like we do whatever we can for the families, it seems as though back to it being, there's always another barrier. It's not just the parents, it's more so like because it's more so like other entities that
government stuff.
Yeah, or like I'm even thinking of entities like ours. Like we collaborate a lot, but there's other entities that don't really, or like they claim they want to collaborate, they claim we want to do this, that, and the third, and then when it's time to pick up the phone, nobody answers. So and it's like, y'all are supposed to be the ones that we like just relay the parents to. We help the kids, y'all help the parents, and it's like that's not happening anymore. And I think that's a really big thing, whether it's like the egos of certain entities, or like I couldn't really put a thumb on it, but I think we should get out our own way in order to like help these families, because that's what we all are here for.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of places don't want to collaborate just because it's like, okay, well, it didn't work in the past for the past people. Why would we continue to collaborate, or why would you continue to send people over here if these people are not like following our program?
Or people think like their way is the only way too, or they want to shine for it. And it's like, bro, this not about y'all. Like this about these kids, and y'all watching these kids suffer, and parents suffer, full families suffer, because it's an ego thing and
Y'all
pride.
want to take all the credit.
It is, you know, and we got so much pride, especially as black people, where we miss a lot of those. We let people fall through the cracks because we can't get over ourselves, you know. And we talk to a lot of kids where, in their mind, the people who let them slide are the ones they would rather sit in a room with and go to, not realizing that they holding you back. They aren't helping you handle the trauma that's going on in your life, or some of the learning that you lack in. Like, we push our kids, like, you know, and we are very tough on them, because we understand that they lack discipline and structure, and a lot of kids act out because that's the only time most people pay attention to them anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so they act out, just say, hey, I need some attention. You know, and the attention I need you to give me, I don't know how to ask for. You know, or the things I need you to help me with, I don't even know how to phrase. You know, so we always try to read through those lines or just straight up ask the kids, like, what is really going on?
And sometimes they don't even know like what exactly it is that they need.
No, most definitely.
And because of the pride we have as Black people, it's like we talk about therapy and we talk about mental health and we talk about like healing as a whole and how to get over those barriers. But it's like, they're like, we don't believe in therapy. Our parents talking about we don't need therapy and this, that, and the third. But it's like, you probably do need to talk to somebody.
We all need it, for
We
real.
all
We
probably
should have been
need
doing
to
family therapy.
have a conversation with somebody
mean?
about what's going on in the home or
Yeah.
even like just what you're experiencing in the community.
But I think, like, kind of touching on what you were saying about the ego thing, and how it's hard for people to get out of their own way, and I'm not judging anybody because I think we all go through this. But I noticed, like, and I don't want to use this word, but the era that we seem to be in right now is, like, looks maxing. Like, vanity. Kind of what I was saying about, like, how kids grow up and you just attach yourself to a thing that you see. But the thing, you just putting the clothes on. You putting on the costume, but there's nothing on the inside. And then, like, even back to the mental health and the therapy thing. What exactly is this therapist about to tell you? Like, what does this therapist believe in? What is, like, is this all just coming off of the stuff that the doctors is telling you? Because then we can go back to the barriers. It's like, and you don't really want to tell this to a kid because it's demoralizing. But at the same time, it's like almost all of the systems that are in place, not just in America, but in the world, are actively working against humanity. So it's like, I think it goes back to the stories that we tell ourselves. Like, what does it mean? What does it even mean to be a human being? And then what kind of human being am I? And then, like, how does that affect me? And then how do I affect others through that? Going back to the ego thing, the people that are in charge of these different organizations that you try to work with. It's like, you don't want to help these people, but you do want to look like you helping people. I remember you used to hear people say, like, if I can just help one person. Like, I know I've been doing this for 20 years, but if I just helped one person, then that's enough for me. Like, that sentiment seems to be gone. I don't remember the last time I heard somebody say that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess it's just like, what's at the heart of this? And I can't really find the words for it right now, but I think that's definitely worth spending time exploring. What does it mean to be a human being?
And I think it's overwhelming, too, because you put so much work into something and someone, and more often than not, they push it away, you know? Or the barrier, what they're fighting against is so hard for us to even help them through. I'll get an example is, like a couple months ago, we had a mom come in and she got, 7 kids. And she's like, hey, I just got this voucher for this housing program for 2 years. And they pay up to like $1,600 of rent. And she gets like, I don't know what it was, $1,200 in food stamps and $1,000 in cash a month. And she said, but I want to get a job. And I said, all right, what's the stipulations? She can't make over $1,100 a month. I'm thinking, this sounds great if you didn't say this. You know what I mean? So how am I, you know, as someone who wants people to build independence, how am I to tell you to get off the system and go get a job? I can't, because you will never make, and this ain't me being demeaning to this person, but you don't have the education or the work experience because you just told me you really haven't had a job in your life. You know what I mean? And you didn't even really graduate high school. So how am I don't know how to tell you the path you should go down, because you're not going to make as much money as this voucher and government assistance is covering to take care of your kids. You know, so it is. Like you brought up, like, the systems are created to keep us down. It is. And they make it sound pretty. You know what I mean? It's like they put tulips on top of poison ivy. You know what I mean? Like, you picking them flowers, not realizing the whole time you just rubbed up against them oils on that ivy vine.
You gonna feel
Yeah,
that.
you might not feel it now, but give it a week, give it a couple years. But that's that. that generational stuff that we just, it's hard for us to pull ourselves out of because they want to keep us down in it. So, yeah.
So we've talked about like the barriers and like not so happy things, but what are some things that you see good happening in the community with the BIPOC youth, and what gives you hope with this generation that we're helping raise?
Honestly, I think us. If I just say us, I'm gonna put myself in the mix. I don't care how I sound. Like, we have done so much for this area, in new ways, and like when it comes to partnerships, specifically with me with like the juvenile justice system.
Yeah.
I'm able to have conversations with judges and attorneys and prosecutors to pretty much say, like, hey, this kid has done this and this. Here's what I think they should, their punishment should be, or their consequence should be. It's helped a lot of kids stay out of jail. It's helped them be able to come do community service with us and also learn values and skills and things that they won't learn being locked behind a jail at AJC or in the county. And then we have access to the schools. We can go to schools whenever we want. We got access to see these kids' grades, and we sit on the truancy board, so we know what kids are missing school, when they're missing school. So just the work that we've done has opened doors for us to be in rooms that most people can't. And we're a better resources to the students and families because of the work that we're doing. So, I mean, and we're seeing a lot of positivity from it. At NYS alone, the last 2 years, 100% of our kids have graduated. So that's a big deal. You know what I mean? That's a big deal. Yeah, so, I mean, we brag about that, so.
And
yeah.
you should. That's a big thing to brag about, especially because you help so much of the BIPOC youth in Duluth.
Exactly.
Like, you see probably 90% of the kids, the BIPOC children in Duluth.
Yep. And we coach them. You know what I mean? So we see them. I mean, we get around with them. So.
And if you don't see them at NYS, you're probably seeing them on the team.
Exactly.
Yeah,
yep.
most definitely.
What would you say?
I was trying to think. I like the natural like leaders that are being like bred through all of this hardship, because like, and some are for the worst. However, like if you see their brain and like what they're intending to do, if you put them in a different situation, like they will definitely do different. So I believe that cream of the crop rise to the top. And we have a lot of kids who are just naturally charismatic, naturally born leaders who, for good or for the worse, they can, I feel like they can change the world. And maybe that's the way I see them with my rose-colored glasses and like how I envision the future. And I'm a glass half full kind of guy. Like, I'm an optimist prime. But I really believe that we have, in this generation specifically, I don't know if they Zers or if we went back to A or something, but these kids that we got right here, like, I got full faith in them. Like the youngers, the real young ones, like, I have complete faith in them. So yeah.
And I think the awareness part, like, I don't know, kid, like, and you see, it's like a double-edged sword, because, like, you'll hear a kid talking and be like, this is not a child. But then at the same time, they'll be like, they are aware. Like, if you BSing them, then, like, they'll know. And they'll
quick, too.
So, like,
most definitely.
I guess you could hope that that will work out for the better in the long run.
So what can parents do? Like, for the parents that are listening to this podcast, who have youth in the community, who attend your programs, and you said sometimes parents is one of the barriers, right? So what can parents do to help?
If you ask me, and we hear this a lot, is stop worrying about offending your kid or pushing them away. I can promise you, I'm harder on anybody's kids than they are, most people. And we haven't pushed the kid away yet. And as a parent, especially in the Black community, most of us only grow up with one parent, a lot of us. And we care so much about our parents that there's nothing that parent can do to push you away. You know, so if our parents would just say, hey, no matter even if I made these mistakes or I haven't got myself where where y'all think I should be or the world thinks I should be, I'm going to make sure y'all do. You know, I'm not going to not be tough on y'all or not push y'all to be the best that you can because I haven't got there. You know, do it. You know, because they might end up being your motivation to get where you ultimately want to be and need to be in life.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. You know, but and also continue to lean on the community. We're going to help, but we also want to help people that want to help themselves too. You know, we put a lot of energy into people who, like I said earlier, they push away that help. You know, and we leave some people on the sideline too long that's saying, hey, I'm waiting, you know, because we so busy trying to get this person out the mud, and this person we've got out the mud, they just stand on the concrete waiting to go. So that's my advice.
So are you saying for the parents to hold their children more accountable?
Definitely. Yeah.
And I think I almost said my personal opinion, but no, it's just the truth. There is good and there is evil. There is righteous and there is unrighteous. There is life and there is death. If you look at things through that lens and you investigate anything in the world, if you investigate it all the way down to the root, you could figure out which one it is. Is this good or bad? Is this producing life or is this going to produce death? There is no my truth. And like now a lot of people push that my truth, pursue happiness, whatever happiness means to you. That's not true. And happiness is not the meaning of life. I think joy can come through living a life fulfilled through righteousness. But I think to educate yourself and to take the time to think about it and to take the time to investigate whatever it is that is involved into your life and weed out the bad things. And like you said, the cream rises to the top. Not naturally, but you have to seek that. And taking the time to investigate that is important. And it's a lot of distractions right now. We live in a very distracted generation. So that's hard. But I think I feel like that's probably the place to start. Educate yourself.
For parents to educate themselves. What do you say, Katie? What your parents do to help you in the community?
There's so many different things. I would say, to piggyback off what you said a little bit, as far as just keeping it as black and white as possible, as far as like you know what's good for your kid. You know this isn't like a good thing for them. You know this isn't. If you don't do the due diligence, and then investigate.
It smells sweet, but it tastes like.
Yeah, most definitely. And like, cause I've had a lot of problem with and don't be afraid, because like he said, we not parents, but at the same time, I kind of know how it feels to be fearful of because I care a lot about these kids. So I know how it feels to be worrying if this kid is okay, if this kid is all right. And so it's like I get being afraid to let them venture out and do these extracurriculars, especially when some take them till 9 o'clock. That's like something that's I don't like either. Like I feel like no school after extracurricular activities should take till 9 o'clock. Like on a school night, like I'm with the parents on that. But at the same time, if this is going to give them that outlook, that different outlook that's going to grow their brain, you gotta let them experience that, because it's the difference between, like I was just telling you, my Oshkosh trip, my space camp trip, to just me just selling drugs out here. And it's like, I feel like stuff like that can really like change a kid's life. And I just hate when a lot of our parents, out of fear, overprotect them, and then they end up rebelling all the way to the point to where it knocks them back like years. And then we got to come back, pick up the pieces at 18, 20 to kind of reverse all of that stuff that was been taught. So I would say, like, put down some of that fear we are in a new era. Yeah, it's scarier considering everything that's in the news. However, I feel like we're way more community based, and yeah, this is me as a 31-year-old adult, so I've been more attached to community than I've ever been. But I feel like we're more community based now, as far as like who I could pick up the phone and call and find out where a kid's at, and like really get in touch with a kid. Like we found mad kids for people. So yeah, that's what I say. Put away that fear.
And I think to wrap up, just if this podcast does happen to find our youth, what would you want the youth to know? What do you want them to, if they're listening, what do you want them to actually hear and take away from this?
We will never walk away from y'all. Period. Like, even no matter how tough we are, if we get disappointed, frustrated, we ain't going nowhere. Like, so even if y'all, have started to veer down that path where, because a lot of kids, when they feel like they let us down, they don't come around. Mm-hmm. Don't ever think what you done will make us not love and care for y'all. Yeah. That's important. Yeah. Like, we always gonna be here. Church, we see kids even now that, are hard on drugs. We see them every day, and we always still stop and, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And they put their head down like they get nervous and say, no, we're here. Shame. Yeah, don't feel shame around us. Like, we all, no matter what, we're always gonna want the best for y'all. Period. And no matter at what point of your life you're in, you never really too far gone, not when you got the youth still, so take advantage of us. Take advantage of us. Even we're here. Parents. For real. Same thing.
I would just say you're a star and you can literally do whatever you want. I feel like there's a lot of this, like, social media, like they feel like everything is mad unattainable because of like
the social media.
Yeah, and like feeling like what they need to have right now. And I'm not even speaking on it like on that type of level. Like, I'm not saying it like you're gonna be LeBron James out here. I mean more so like whatever you put your mind to, you will achieve, and like that's a real thing. So but at the same time, you got to put real work behind that. Like, it's not something you can just say. So I feel as though like that, because there's a lot of kids that's come out of our program that's literally reached some of those heights and have touched that echelon of where they felt like they would never reach. So that's what I would say.
I would say that there's nothing more important than knowing the truth. There's nothing more important than knowing the truth, and you should seek that out. And then the truth about life, the truth about the world, and the truth about yourself, and also that you should aim high. Because aim as high as you can, and then look at your life and eliminate the things that aren't helping you to get there. And even if you don't reach the goal, we all get in our own way. I'm not saying you're going to be perfect, but the things that you do attain from just aiming high, it'll be better than what you would have attained from just like having mediocre aspirations.
Thank you guys for coming and having a conversation.
Yes, we do. We conversate.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for being with us today. If something spoke to you, please share this with a friend who you think could really benefit from this episode. And remember, to help our show grow and reach more people just like you, make sure to follow the show and leave a 5-star review. And if you want to continue to have critical and courageous conversations, well, then we'll see you in the next episode.